So this guy begins to speak. He must have been, 22, 23 years old himself, the guy who was talking. He says, I was friends with Binyamin, he says, but I was also his commander. Now that alone, I was shocked. I couldn't begin to imagine, what does that mean to be 22, 23 years old and to be standing there over the grave of a 19-year-old kid who you were in charge of? I can't even begin to understand what that means. I was his commander. You're 22, 23 years old. And it begins to tell us of how he died really the way he lived. Somebody who always was first to respond, first to take responsibility. And we learned a little bit about the beauty of his neshama and who he was. And then we go and we visit his mother. His parents, Jen and Rob Early, made Aliyah in 2006 to Ramat Beit Shemesh. And she's like an exercise physiologist. She also volunteers for Magen David Adom. And if you just sort of picture the scene, we all pack into her living room. Okay, we're all sitting there, the whole group, we all pack in a big circle. And she says, November 18th, it was Shabbos, and that's when our lives changed forever. She said, our son was a paratrooper, he was in yeshiva in Tzfas. And she said that what happened was, there were 3 terrorists that were hiding, they had come out, and they just attacked, they seriously injured 7 soldiers. Now, when we went to the hospitals, and you see what it means, seriously injured, sometimes you see where it's not so serious. When it's more serious, it's serious is serious. What can I say? And then these 3 terrorists ran into a building, and he said, we knew we had to get rid of these terrorists, or else they're going to injure the next group that's passing by. So one of the other commanders from another unit said, we need somebody who has a certain weapon, it's called the Negev, which Binyamin happens to have, but there were other people who also could have stepped up. And Binyamin was the first one to say, right, Hineni, that's it, Anochi, get me, I'm in. He wanted to be the person to go in. And he went with this other unit, they went in together, they killed one terrorist. Unfortunately, they didn't see that another terrorist was hiding, and then this terrorist killed Binyamin and the other friends that were with him. But his mother said something so interesting. She said that before he went into Gaza, he told us, Ima, Abba, I want you to know I'm prepared to die for Am Yisrael, I'm prepared to die for Eretz Yisrael. She said it's the last thing any parent wants to hear, it's the first thing every parent wants to hear. Agav, Rav Noach Weinberg always said, if you don't know what you're willing to die for, you haven't begun living. And he used to say, think about what you're willing to die for and then live for it. We all say, I'm willing to die. I would be willing to die for my spouse, for my kids, for my family. So now ask the question, am I really living for them? Do I give all the TLC, the patience, the love, the time, the attention? I'm willing to live. I'm willing to die for what it means to be a Yid. So are we living for it? Can we do more? But at the end, she told us some of the beautiful things they're doing in his merit, in his memory. She said she has a book here. It's got hundreds, thousands of names of all the people that came through the Shiva house and over the last few months. And they wrote their name and the Kabbalah, the thing that they took on in memory of their son. So she said, would you guys be willing to, And I have to tell you something, just so you can appreciate the group. We had people on the group who were completely from. So of course, give me an opportunity. Of course, I'm going to take on a mitzvah. 100%. There's a concept. The idea exists for them. I had people on the group who, just to give you perspective, when I said to them, when we were talking about when we're leaving, I said I'm leaving before Shabbos. I'm coming home on Friday morning. Oh, they said, why don't you stay for Shabbos? And I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. And they said, well, we're staying. I said, well, when are you leaving? They said Saturday morning. These guys think Shabbos is Friday night. That's it. Okay, just to give you perspective, how frum some of them are. And yet when it came time, when a mother of such a child, who was nifter in Gaza, hands around a book and says, would you be willing to take something on? Not one person hesitated for a second to write their name and to write down what they were going to take on in her son's memory. Because when you're looking face to face, when you're looking in the face of a mother, face to face, who lost her son like this, you can't say no. You don't want to say no, but you would never say no. When you're Pnei Hashem, when Moshe is face to face, so to speak, and Hashem is not turning his face, and Moshe pleads, could you forgive them for the worst thing that they did after hearing about Anochi Hashem Elokecha, not to worship idols, and they did it anyway. Could you forgive them for that? And Hashem forgives, because he was Pnei Hashem.